It's a beautiful day in my neighborhood yet again. Hi, folks, it's Angelo. And you know what? These clouds are interesting, amazing. A woman I once knew told me that these are because of chemtrails and because of the spraying into the atmosphere for weather control, climate control. I thought she was a kind of a crazy conspiracy theorist, but the more and more I learn about different things, the more and more I'm told, or I think, that I might be one myself. Now, I'm not sure about chemtrails. I don't know. I haven't done enough research, and there's not enough out there for me to understand exactly how weather systems work. But one thing that's on my mind that this video is kind of going to point to is, what the hell are we doing to our planet? I mean, come on. We're just kind of like not conscious of it fully. We think about it from time to time. Where I live here in Portland, they've banned plastic bags at stores. That's a step, right? But imagine if they were like banning huge trucks and gas guzzlers and just fossil fuels in general. I mean, what the hell are we doing to our planet? I always buy organic, as I've mentioned before, because our food supplies are killing us literally. The rate of cancer is going through the roof. And as someone who is overcoming cancer with a brain tumor, who's been pretty healthy my whole life, I'm thinking, what the hell happens here? Why are all these people around me getting sick? And studies of brain tumors show that 700,000 Americans have a brain tumor, a primary brain tumor, and within a year, 70 more thousand diagnoses. That's a tenth added to that. That's crazy. I also saw a study that told me that in the turn of the 20th century, your chances of getting cancer were like 1 in 25 or 30. And today, or as of 2010, they're 1 in 2, exponentially growing. So look around you. Half the people are going to die of cancer, maybe more, if we keep polluting our planet like this. And it seems like when you say stuff like that, it's not as radical to say that anymore, but just in recent times, people think you're one of these tree huggers or a nut, you don't care. I mean, in Oklahoma right now, where my friend lives, they're praying for oil. They're praying for oil to get fracked out of the ground. They can't extract it fast enough. The United States is the number one extractor of fossil fuels and producer of fossil fuels in the world. So that might be why we're not in a major war right now. I mean, we're in like 80 conflicts. But, also don't speak about politics because a lot of people get upset. But if you want the future of our planet for human beings to be here, we need to make bold action like immediately. Not with your polyethylene disposable coffee cup that you got, which Americans produce about 25 billion of a year, literally. And those are not recyclable, by the way. And only about 20% of plastics are recycled. So you got about 80% of all plastic just going into the ground or the ocean or just rustling around. I mean, it doesn't seem like that really is daunting to too many people because you can still breathe. Look at all these wires here, see? But you can just breathe. Forget about the 5G coming through you. See what I mean? Some of you probably think I'm a conspiracy theorist if you're watching this, but we talk often about how to cure cancer. We're always focusing on money for research and money for this and money for that. But what about preventative care? And not just like eating well for preventative care. How about not fucking our planet up? Huh? And I know that like living here in Portland, Oregon is, in a sense, living in a bubble. It's a pretty clean city for how big it is. There's about 2 million people in the metro area, and the air's relatively clean. It's not like going down to San Francisco up to Seattle where it's even dirtier, and it's noticeably dirtier in San Francisco since I've been back for the first time in about a decade recently. I mean, human population growth is one thing, but the ungodly exponential rate of CO2 emissions into the atmosphere, not just from car emissions, but also from cell phones, believe it or not. Like, if you're using data on your cell phone, you're probably using more, you're contributing to more CO2 emissions and pollution than if you're driving a car, believe that or not, I swear. So I don't know, what are we going to do about it? We have to really just think, we don't have to solve this problem. Well, we got to solve it within a decade, like, apparently, according to all the leading scientists in the world. But what do they know, right? We're facing the 6th great extinction on planet Earth that we know of. And the last one was what? 6 billion years ago? Or whatever it was, I don't even know. I'm not a scientist, but it was a long friggin' time ago the dinosaurs died, and that was from a meteorite that hit the Earth. It wasn't from the dinosaurs fracking their way into extinction. And did you know for a long time that fungi were thriving on this Earth after the dinosaurs went away? There was huge, like tree-sized mushrooms growing. It's crazy. I mean, all this stuff is going to happen again, perhaps. I mean, it's inevitable that the human species is not going to last forever. Nothing lasts forever. I mean, that's the whole point of life, is that impermanence is king or queen. But I just want to emphasize that we really need to make some steps, even if they're little steps. Like, I've not been buying packaged foods anymore. Sometimes I buy kombuchas, so I will say done it, and that has like plastic lids or pop-off lids. But I'm really trying to make a conscious effort to not use any plastic bags at all. And I know probably the best thing you could do is just not exist on Earth to make a difference, because look at how much trash you put out to the curb every week. And then think about that over your lifetime, plus all the stuff that you're consuming while you're out. And it's daunting, it's frightening, and I don't want to be negative, but I also want people to be aware that just because you live in this convenience culture right now where everything is sailing along very smoothly, it's going to come to an end, and not very far from now. A lot of people are talking about this, but the rate of cancer is just, we don't want to, I mean, I'd rather go out with a meteorite, like the dinosaurs did, just going along, doing a thing, boom, because who wants to suffer through all of this disease and tough times? Instead of focusing on making a city on Mars, why don't we focus on having this Earth inhabitable? I mean, don't you love it? I mean, sadly, 1% of the drinking water on Earth, 1% of the Earth's water is drinkable, and like something like 0.1% is drinkable at the source, maybe even less than that. The water here coming out of the tap tastes like chlorine or chloramide or whatever it's called. It doesn't taste very good. I had well water when I was in Maine visiting my dad, and it tasted really good, mineral rich. My dentist knew I wasn't from around here because of my teeth being really strong for this area, living in the Pacific Northwest in the Willamette Valley here. It's mostly basalt and volcanic soil, which is good for growing things, but it's not so good for strong teeth. Processed sugars, I can't even tell you how terrible that stuff is for you. So if you have anything to do with cancer, whether you're worried about getting it or you have it, stay the hell away from processed sugars, simple sugars, man. Cancer is loving that processed sugar. So I don't know. I'm kind of on a little tangent today about things that I've been thinking about, but I hope some of this rings true for you, because once you have cancer, it's a hard struggle to get rid of it. And many people just die from it. Fortunately for me, I've got super willpower. I know I'm going to die someday, because who wants to live forever, like Freddie Mercury said. but I don't want to go out like a punk ass bitch or whatever. I didn't mean that to be offensive to anybody, but if it was, I'm sorry. I don't want to go out like a sucker. And if that's offensive to anybody, I'm sorry. But I just want there to be more cohesion and unity on this planet, because we're all connected. Just like the spores of fungus and mycorrhizal fungi, we're all interdependent, not just all humans, but all plants and fungus and eukaryotes and bacteria and microorganisms. We're all in one system. And when you knock one little thing out of it, of the system, there's a greater likelihood for the whole thing to collapse. So let's do our best. Let's enjoy these beautiful days. These beautiful contrails above me. And we'll wave to the people with their kids in the car when they drive by, burning their fossil fuels. Because let's face it, everything we accuse or point the finger at other people for doing, it's because we see that in ourselves and we do that ourselves. It ain't about being guilty or wrong or right or good or just. It's about compassion, empathy, and caring more about what we're doing to all around us. You know? Stay organic. Keep a positive attitude with gratitude, and be good to yourself and each other, as Jerry Springer would say. Be good to each other. All right, y'all. This is Angelo on a beautiful, beautiful October day in the Pacific Northwest saying, peace.